Hello, here we are again, everybody. My name is Mike, Applefun Puppetry. It's on my shirt. And this is exciting. This is exciting, everyone, because today we are going to learn how to make a stage for our puppets. So when I do puppet shows for birthdays, libraries, daycares, and festivals, and all those places, museums, also museums, I do it inside of a box. I do my puppet shows inside of a refrigerator box, everyone. A long time ago, I went to Sears, which is a store that doesn't exist anymore. There used to be a store called Sears. I went there and I asked them, do you have a box for a refrigerator? And they said yes. And then I got a box for a refrigerator. So if you can imagine, a refrigerator is about this tall, you know, a little bit taller than an adult. And then it's about this wide. So it's perfect for a puppet show. It's just a cardboard box, though. A giant cardboard box is what I do my puppet shows in. Now, one day, I was doing the puppet show outside, and it started to rain, and the cardboard box got soggy. So there's some advice. Don't do your if you have a cardboard box puppet show stage, don't do your puppet show in the rain. So anyways, when my puppet show melted or the cardboard fell apart, I made a new one out of plastic. So I made a plastic one. It's out of a material called Coroplast, which is corrugated plastic. And it's a Canadian invention, someone told me, and they use it in space, and they use it for election signs, and I use it for puppet shows. So that is what my stage is made out of. Today, all of us together are going to make a puppet stage out of a box. So you can make this any size you want. If you have a large box, dishwasher box or a refrigerator box or any kind of box like that, that will work. But I'm going to just show you the basics of how to make one out of a small box. Okay? So here's what we're going to do today. A shoe box will work. And this is exactly like the stage I use for my puppet shows, just smaller, just a smaller version of it. So the back is open so that your hands or you can go into the back, and then there's an opening on the front where the puppets come out. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it's a very simple way to make a puppet stage, and but it's very effective. So what you need for this project is a box of some kind, any kind of box, whatever you have will probably work. It's better if the box is longer than it is wide, but even a square box will work. And some construction paper, some safety scissors if you have them, and that's about it. Maybe some tape. You might need tape also. Okay, so let's get started. I have a couple of boxes here, and I wanted to show you something before we get too far into it. I have two kinds of boxes. So this is your traditional cardboard box, corrugated cardboard box, which is nice and deep. But you might have a box like this one. I'm probably going to use that one to make the puppet show, but you might have a box like this, which is thinner, right? Like a cereal box or dog bones. This kind of a box will also work, and I just want to show you how you might make a box like this work. Okay? So because it's not that deep, like this one is, you can make this box a little bit deeper just by cutting. Let me get my scissors. Just by cutting down the middle. Right down the middle. And it's not easy to cut cardboard, so you just take your time, and if you need to get help, get some help. But what you want to do is you cut right down the middle, and then you cut along the bottom edge and open it up like this. Okay, and then leave these flaps on there so that you just fold them out so that you end up with a deeper kind of box. So if you have a cereal box, and then you will do the rest of what we're going to do using this. Okay, so if you have a cereal box or a dog bones box or a crackers box or anything that's narrower than what I'm working with, that's how you can make it a little bit deeper. And it'll just make the puppet show, if it's deeper, it'll make it more stable. Okay? But this is the box that I have chosen to use today. It's just your standard box. We all have lots of these boxes around. So the first thing to do is turn the box and get the flaps. Take the flaps off. So I'm getting my safety scissors and I'm cutting off all of the box's flaps. That's the first thing to do. And this cardboard is even harder to cut. So if you find it too hard to cut, either get help or get a box that's thinner cardboard. That's okay too. So cut off all the flaps. And also, I don't know if you can hear me or not, because this is noisy. Cutting cardboard is noisy work. But if you can still hear me, save the scraps, because you might need them later, okay? Save the scraps. The first step in making our puppet stage is to cut off the flaps of the box. If you're lucky enough to have a shoe box that you're working with, you probably don't have flaps on it. You just take the lid off and you're good. Okay, so there we go. The box has one side open and all the rest of the sides are closed. So that's good. Now what we want to do is cut the top off the box. So go ahead, get your scissors, cut the top off. Actually, you don't have to cut the full top off right now. You can if you want, but I'm just cutting down both sides. And I know you might have questions. And I might be going too fast. If I'm going too fast or anything like that, don't worry, because you can watch the video again after the video. This video will be up, and you can follow along for now and just relax if you want, and then watch the video again later to watch it again and learn what I did. So I've cut the top off the box. So actually, what I didn't have to cut the front because it wasn't attached, so I just cut the tape. So now I have two sides removed from the box, and now what I want to do is I want to create, if I turn this way, I cut it down here and across the front a little bit. So the reason I do this, and you don't really have to do this, you could just cut an opening in the front and do your puppet show out of the opening, but I like to have a little bit more room for the puppets to move around in the stage. Also, if people are watching from, the sides, they can still see the puppet action on the stage. So that's why I don't just cut an opening in the front of the box, but I cut a back and then up. Or actually what I'm going to do is, on this one, I'm going to cut down and across the front. So this doesn't have to be exact, but basically I like to use half. Okay, so this is the front of our puppet stage. This is going to be the front. And I'm going to cut this here and there. Okay, so I'll just draw that so you can see where I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut about halfway down, halfway as deep as the box is, and then I'm going to cut across the front like that. I'm going to cut this part off. Then I'm going to go right across the front like that. And then I'm going to go across the side halfway and up. And I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to cut this off. So that's what we're going to do next. So you get your safety scissors, and it's easiest to cut. I turn the box onto its back, and then I'm going to cut down that line that I made to about there. And I'll go do the other side over here. And I'm just following the line that I made. Then it's a bit tricky, but you want to cut along here. So you might have to fold this one in a bit and get your scissors in there and then cut. There you go. And then you go across the front, cut this off. There's a lot of cutting, but once this part is done, it's pretty easy after this. There, I cut the front off, so it was like this. And I cut that, and I cut that, and I cut across the front, and that's all gone. And then I just cut along there. And that is the beginning of our puppet stage, okay? See that? You can see how that looks like that, only a bigger version of it. You can make your stage match the size of your puppets. So if you've made some puppets that are tiny, you make a tiny stage. If you've made bigger puppets, you make a bigger stage. Also decide if you want, this is what you would call, I guess, a tabletop puppet show. But if you had a bigger box, then you might do the puppet show on the floor. So now what we want to do is add something across the top here. So there's two ways to do this. On this puppet show, I put a piece of cardboard back in, or actually never cut it off, I think. So the top of the puppet show is solid, right? But on the puppet show I use in real life, I leave the top open. And that's because I like to do 2 layers. So I have puppets down on this layer here, talking and going on. Then I have a puppet sometimes popping up atop the puppet show, out of the top of the puppet show. And I call that a pop-up character. And that's a fun thing to do in a puppet show. For example, you have a monkey character in the puppet show, and the main character doesn't see him. So you get the monkey to keep popping up behind the main character, and the audience goes, "There's a monkey, there's a monkey," and then the main character looks and the monkey's gone, right? And it goes on and on like that. So that's what I use the opening in the top for. Also, sometimes I use the opening in the top for like a character who's like from another place, like maybe an alien, a spaceship is flying up above, or an airplane, or a fairy godmother, or a wizard, someone who is like maybe from a different world than the puppets that are in the puppet show. So you can use the top part for lots of different things. So I like to let's do that. Let's keep the top of this stage open. So if we're going to leave the top of the stage open, we still need something to go across here. So all you need to do really for that is get some of your scrap cardboard that I hope you saved, and then cut yourself a strip. Okay, so we know, because this came off of this box, it's the same width as the box. So I'm just going to cut like a width, maybe the width of like 1 or 2 of your fingers, 1.5. Just cut yourself a little strip of cardboard. And what we're going to do is we're going to reattach it to the box with some tape. So there's what I have, just a strip of cardboard. And I'm going to attach that either there, or I could attach it up here if I want. I think I'll just attach it front-wise to the front of the edge. So a little bit of Scotch tape. Scotch tape works fine. If you have duct tape, that works even better. Whoops. This Scotch tape will probably be good enough. So you put tape on either end of the strip that you cut. And then you just tape it on to the front of the box. See there what I did? I just taped it on both corners. And now what we have, this opening of the stage, of any stage, not just a puppet stage, but the opening, the front of the stage, the open part, that's called the proscenium. So what we've done here is we've created a proscenium. It's a big word, big theater word, proscenium. And so it's where all the action happens, right? The stage is the surface, and a puppet stage doesn't really have a surface, but the proscenium is the opening of the stage. So that's what we have now, and we're going to decorate this a bit. One thing I'd also like to talk about, though, is a playboard. And a playboard is just a piece of wood that goes across the front of a puppet stage. This one doesn't have one, because this is such a tiny puppet show. You wouldn't really ever have props. You might, but probably wouldn't have props that are small enough to put on a playboard on a small stage like that. But that's what a playboard basically is for. Is if you have any props or anything like that in your puppet show, that's where you can place the props on there. So to make a playboard, it's pretty easy. You just get another piece of cardboard about the same width as your box, or even ideally a little bit longer than the box. I think, yeah, I have this one. So there's another piece of cardboard. So it's a little bit longer than the width of my box. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to just cut a strip, and it depends how wide you want it. Probably, again, about two and a half, maybe 2 of your fingers, like that, wide. But it doesn't really matter how wide it is. Just don't make it too wide so that it blocks your hands or puppets from coming up into the stage. So let me just show you. Goes across the front just like this. So you can see that I still have a lot of area here for puppets to pop in and out of. Okay, so it's a little bit long. I'm going to just trim off some of the ends. And then you can glue that on there if you want. Like just put some white glue along the edge and you could glue it on. I'm going to just tape this on. Again, it's just putting tape on both ends of the cardboard. Tape on both ends, and then you just tuck the tape down over the edges like that. Make it stick out. Oops. Make your playboard stick out slightly from the edge of the stage, which I didn't do, so I'm just doing it again. This is probably better done with duct tape or some kind of stronger tape, or even glue if you have it. Okay, that's probably going to be okay for now. So now we have the playboard, and if we have any props from our puppet show, we can put them onto the playboard, and the puppet can pick them up, put them back down very carefully on a small stage like this. The playboard on my stage is about this wide, and it goes across the front, so it's nice and wide, so you can put lots of big props on there. So it's a little bit easier to work in a bigger stage than a tiny one like this, especially if you're doing a lot of using props. And props, by the way, are just the things that the puppets are using, right? So there's the puppets and there's the props. And the props are like this. Hey, can you go get me the tape? Oh yeah, you want the tape? I'll go get the tape. I'm gonna have to pick it up with my mouth though. Okay, that's fine. Here's the tape. Pardon? Here's the tape. I can't hear you. You have tape in your mouth. Right? So props are just the objects that the puppets move around in your puppet show. So now we have a puppet show. We have a puppet show stage. We don't really have to do much else here, but we should do some things to decorate it. And all I did here to decorate this one was I put something around, like some curtains, just made them out of paper around the opening, which, as we all know, is the proscenium, right? And I put some decoration on the front to make it look nice. And then I made this curtain inside. So this curtain that I made inside, that's the next thing we're gonna do, is make a curtain. I made this curtain just out of strips of paper. That's all I used. But if you have some old fabric around or material, old shirt or something like that, you can make your curtain out of that. And all it does is it gives you somewhere to put the puppet in front of, so that behind the puppet is it's not just a hole, right? It's just covering. So if I'm back here doing the puppet show like this, a curtain will hide me and just show the puppet. So I'll show you how to make an easy one out of paper. And like I said, you can make it out of anything. Fabric works really well. So you get a piece of paper and you cut the paper to the width of your box. roughly. That's the first thing to do. So I'm just actually going to fold that to the width. That's roughly the width of my box. And then cut off the extra. And then take your piece of paper. Actually, you don't need all this length. So figure out how long you want the curtain to be. You basically want it to go from the top of the stage to just below the opening, which to me that looks like about half of this piece of paper. So I'm going to cut this piece of paper in half. Actually, I'm going to rip it. I think. No, I'm not going to rip it. It's going to be messy if I rip it. Okay, I'm going to try and rip it. I made a nice crease. Both sides. Okay, let's see how it goes. Oh yeah, turned out well. So that's going to be my curtain, and it's going to go back in here. It's a little bit too wide, so I'll take a little bit off. It's going to go in there like that. But first, I just cut strips, and I go almost all the way to the top, and it makes sort of a curtain effect just out of paper. So this is just a simple way to make a curtain. A nice simple way. So this is making like a fringe. And these fringes or strips will just allow your hand or your puppet to pass through the curtain on your stage. There we go. See that? It's just like a frill or a fringe, and your hand can go through it. And then get some tape, or if you're using a glue stick, get that and put some glue along the top of the curtain. So the part that you didn't cut, just put a strip of glue along there like that. I used purple glue so you can see it. And then you stick it inside to the back of this cross piece that we made. There, we have a nice curtain now. Okay, and now just decorate it. Decorate it up however you feel like. Get some more construction paper, pick your favorite color, and you cut out a piece, sort of like curtains. And this part can be fun, like it doesn't have to be neat or anything like that. Even sometimes what I do is I change this part of the stage depending on which puppet show I'm doing. So for example, if I'm doing a puppet show that's about pirates, then I'll make this part of the puppet stage, and just that was too small, so I'm making it a little bit bigger. Then I would make this look like maybe like a ship, a pirate ship or something like that. So you just come up with something that you sort of like. Oh, and that's what I was saying. Yeah, you can make it like you can decorate your puppet stage. If there's a theme to your puppet show, you can make your puppet stage match the theme if you want. Pirates. If it's about knights or princesses, you might make it look like a castle, right? So just use your imagination. This is a very simple one that I made, just plain. On the front, if you want, you can get another piece of paper and decorate the front so it looks a little bit nicer. You could cover the whole thing. You could paint the box if you want to. Sometimes this is a fun idea. Make a little sign. Make a little sign for the front that announces, you know, what's happening, when the show is going to be. Puppet show at 1 p.m. And you can just stick that. Get you some glue. Or you can make this changeable, actually. Probably a smarter thing to do is use tape. And you can just change that. So if your puppet show's at 1 o'clock, then next day it might not be at 1 o'clock. It might be at 2 o'clock. So you want to change the sign. But that's just an idea. You can put that on there. You could put the title of the show there or anything like that. Okay? So there we go. Oh, see? blah, 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 blah. Hello, I'm a puppet. Oh, that's good. So that's how the curtain works. He just passes through there. So this is still drying, the glue, so it's not very sturdy yet, but I'll just get a puppet and I'll show you a little puppet show quickly. I'm going to show you a couple other ways to make a puppet stage. Hi, my name's Louise. I'm missing a tooth. Ah, do you see that? Ah, one of my teeth fell out. That's the puppet show about Louise who lost her tooth. So there we go. This is a puppet stage. Now, here's a secret. I shouldn't even say this, but I'm going to say it. Are you listening? You don't need a stage. Did you hear that? We spent just 25 minutes making a puppet stage, and now Mike tells me I don't even need a puppet stage? That's right, you don't. You can just use your puppet. You can just use your puppet standing there talking to it. And you can practice becoming a ventriloquist, right? Which is someone who makes the puppet talk with their mouth, but you can't see their lips moving. I don't know how to do that. That's a whole nother skill set that I don't have. But you can practice and learn how to do that. And if you're a ventriloquist, you don't need a puppet stage. Also, if you don't feel like making a puppet stage, you can do your puppet show. You can just go down behind the desk. Oh, good. Where's the puppet show? I wouldn't mind seeing a puppet show. Oh, hi, where's the puppet show? I don't know. Is this the puppet show? I think so. So you can do it that way. You could go behind the sofa and do your puppet show. You go behind the sofa and then hang a blanket on the wall behind you, and you can decorate, if it's an old blanket, you could decorate that with scenery and do your puppet show that way. And also, just to show you a few others, these are some of the other puppet shows, puppet theaters that I made. Right, this is a bigger one. I decorated it a little bit differently. That's a nice big box. This is a medium-sized one, like what we kind of just made. And then there's this. This is for different types of puppets altogether. This is a little. I don't think I have a flashlight here. Do I? I thought I had a flashlight. Maybe I don't. Okay. This is a shadow puppet stage. So it's just half of a cardboard box, and I cut a hole in the opening, and then I use printer paper inside. And what this does is if you shine a flashlight or some kind of a light behind it, then the screen will light up. And if you put little puppets made out of cardboard, cut out, I don't have any. You just make little cutout paper puppets. You can put them on the screen, and the shadow, the light, will shine through the screen, but it won't shine through the puppets, and that's called a shadow puppet show. So that's something you can play with. Also, is making a shadow puppet show. You just tape a piece of printer paper inside of a box and cut an opening, and you make little cardboard cutouts. Put them on sticks for a shadow puppet show. Really, really good way to make fast puppet shows is a shadow puppet show. And one other one I want to show you is the toy theater. This is a little one that I made. I put this on a piece of wood, but you don't have to. You could put it right on your tabletop. But it's a tiny theater, and it's just made out of a cardboard box also. And this is the proscenium, the opening in the front. And this is the curtain, so you can have the curtain come up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Please stay sitting down. And then you have little puppets that are on sticks, and you can see I'm controlling them from the sides. And all these puppets are pieces of paper, like cutouts. And I just drew little characters on them. And this is called toy theater, and it's a style, another style of puppetry. Okay, I just cut an opening in the front. I cut an opening in both sides. And then you can hang little curtains inside and do a little puppet show that way. So that's another idea. There's tons and tons of different styles of puppets, and you can use any of them. They're all good. They're all fun. Another one is tabletop puppetry, which is called bunraku, and that's where you can see the puppeteer. Just like this. I could do a puppet show right here, and you could use your stuffies to do a puppet show like that, your stuffed animals. Pretend this is an action figure, right? And this is like a truck. And he's like, oh, well, time for work. I'm going to get in the truck. All right. Here we go. It's a Zamboni. I'm driving my Zamboni to work. This tape dispenser looks a bit like a Zamboni, which is the thing they use to clean the ice at hockey rinks and figure skating and all that stuff. Zzz. Oh, it's so slow to drive the Zamboni to work. Oh, well. Zzz. That is tabletop puppetry, where you just, it's just like playing, really. That's what puppetry is. It's playing. Okay, so there we go. Now we know how to make a puppet stage. Get your puppets, get your puppet story, put it all together, and do your puppet show either in a stage or however you decide. All right. My name is Mike, Applefun Puppetry. Thank you for watching the workshop, and I will see you again.